How to measure your skills as a UX designer. Okay, so first you need to know that it is very difficult to quantify intangibles. As a UX designer, especially one who is new to the industry, how do you know where you stand? There are so many skills and methods to know, and a seemingly endless number of ways that you can apply them. There is no quick checklist to review to find out if your skills are leveling up or even if specific skills are improving. How do we measure what we have learned? How can someone measure our growth as designers? How do you know when you're ready to take the junior off your title? And more importantly, how can we prove what we say we know? There aren't many ways for UX designers to gather quantifiable data about their ability or the level of any of their skills. There are skill tests on platforms like UXL, but they haven't really been reviewed by any educational body for accuracy. Many of the questions are subjective, and the results are not really relied on by any hiring manager that I've talked to yet as a demonstration of your abilities. Also, they don't provide feedback on what you got wrong and how you can improve, which isn't necessarily helpful for your growth. The few tests that exist may provide quantitative data, but it's not in a meaningful way that designers can use to help identify what they can learn or do next to keep improving. I'm also not sure that numerical or quant data for designers is necessarily helpful at all. Numbers are very subjective, and we can spin numbers any way we want to tell the story we want others to hear. What does it mean to you or a hiring manager if you have a 78% on your Figma skills test? How does that tell you that you've improved your wireframing skills? Does that mean you suck at wireframing compared to the 22% of other designers who took the same test and who scored higher than you? How does this help you decide what skills to invest your time and effort in? How does it help you determine what area to focus on next? It doesn't. 22% is a pretty meaningless number without context, but humans love numbers. That is just how our brains are wired. So we take the skill tests and we wonder how that translates into a promotion or a new job or more dollars on our paychecks or seniority. We're going to keep wondering too unless we do the work to measure things differently. Measuring improvement, skill increase, and success as a designer requires different information and data that actually makes sense to us. We may not be able to use straight numbers to get a sense of our growth, but we can apply research methods and gather qualitative data to assess, synthesize, and draw conclusions from. If you're ready to start measuring your skills as a designer, I've figured out a plan for tracking the qualitative data that really matters. Here's the entire complex process. Just kidding. It's actually really simple. This process generates a wealth of data that you can use to get higher pay, a promotion, more awards and accolades, or just positive feedback from your manager. Are you ready for it? Okay. So day one, that's today, I hope. Take 5 minutes and jot down 3 to 10 things that you've learned over the last month, or as many as you can think of. Then, every single day, take 2 minutes to close out your day by writing down what you learned, what you worked on, or what frustrated you. You will end your days by locking in those memories, data points, and outcomes. Just writing a simple note about it gives your brain the ability to essentially stop the recording and archive the footage. So your brain will efficiently process this information, moving these things from the hippocampus, the short-term memory, to the neocortex, where it stays in long-term memory, where you can access it and get to know it better by re-accessing it. These pieces of knowledge and your memory have been essentially quantumly time-stamped. And when you review all of your daily notes after a month or a year or 5 years, a couple of things are going to happen. Okay, I wrote down like 6 things. 1, you get to relive that sweet, sweet moment of learning something new. It's a literal dopamine hit for your brain to re-experience a positive learning experience. 2, you can acknowledge what you knew then and gain an understanding of how your knowledge or experience has grown. It's kind of like measuring a kid up against a wall and leaving a mark with a pencil. You get a real sense for growth. 3, you'll have better, more descriptive ways to tell someone what you do and build an amazing resume. 4, You might even generate quantifiable data to show why investing in your professional development is something that your employer should pay for. 5, it helps you face adversity. It helps you stay positive in the face of struggle. You will struggle when you're a knowledge worker. Sometimes you'll fail. It's a fact of life. Some days you'll want to review the notebook to get your sparkle back when it's hard to rise and shine through the grind. This really will help. And then finally, you will have a wealth of documented, personal, lived experiences to draw from when it's time for you to mentor a junior. I encourage you to get started today. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be fancy. It can be a Post-it note, an index card, a napkin, the back of a receipt. Writing it down is the key. So get started today, and I'm really excited to see in a couple of weeks what you've managed to come up with. Let me know. I look forward to seeing you next week.